Hi guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am back with another photo overload. And this is a series that I do once a month with my friend Heather from Heather's Crafty Life. And we show you how to work with multiple photos on the same layout. And so I apologize that this layout is this video is a couple of days late because I am off at Creativation. And so I haven't been able to get everything like voiceovered and posted. But it is here now, so yay! Okay, so what I decided to do is I wanted to work with these three photos. And so I have one that's a 4x6, and then I have two that are 3x4s. And so I've created kind of a small grid. And I love to do this where I put the 4x6 on the top as a horizontal, and then I have two vertical 3x4s that kind of nestle and fit underneath. And so for this particular layout, I was pulling from, and this is like a great tip, I think it's a great tip for using multiple photos, is I was allowing my layout to be guided by the content of those photos. So these are three photos from when we went to Albuquerque for the balloon fiesta. And they were kind of this behind the scenes look. My kids getting to see this balloon come to life. So starting out on the ground, getting filled up using this hot air in these machines, and then being able to see and stand in the basket of this balloon once it was fully up and ready to go. And so having those three photos and having that kind of behind the scenes story, I knew that I had a lot of storytelling I wanted to do. And so creating with just a piece of white cardstock this huge tag that's going to run next to my photos kind of finishes off that grid element that I'm creating, and it gives me a big space to include journaling. And so I've taken my background and I've used a piece of black cardstock, and then I've covered half of it with this black and white check. And the reason that I chose that is because it matches the details on the balloon itself. And I'm going to make that even more apparent here in a few minutes. So I decided that this white cardstock needs a little bit of separation from that black and white background. So I am going to go ahead and black it on just a piece of red. And this is the same red, like there's a plain red cardstock that comes in the same collection as the red pattern paper that I'm using on my big photo. So using those two things together, I know that the colors are going to automatically work. And those are both from the Atwell collection. I was going to say Alta New, and I'm like, no, that's not it. The Atwell collection. And so that's an older collection, but it's one that I really, really enjoy. So I know that this background is not exactly how I wanted it to be because the balloon has these red stripes that go through it. And you're going to see this better in the close-ups, but I went ahead and took my embroidery thread and I created that same design element in that checkered background. So I went every 3 set of boxes, I stitched a red line from the top to the bottom of my layout. And when you get to the close-ups, you'll see how big of a difference that makes. Both for the design element, so that it matches my balloons and it goes with my theme, and then also because it creates some texture on my layout. And I like that little like piece of interest that gets added when you add that little bit of texture. Like it's a little bit unexpected, but it also coordinates really well with the photos, so it draws you back into the story. And I really appreciate that part. So I'm just making sure I have everything lined up here the way that I want it to be. And then I'm going to go ahead and add that tag over on the right-hand side for my big story. And I also know, because I have that huge white space, that I want to break it up. I don't want to just write over the entire thing. I want to do some design elements that are going to carry over onto that tag. So that's where my title is going to get built. And you can see that I've pulled out a bunch of puffy stickers here. And these are all, the alphabets are from Freckled Fawn, and then the rest of the puffy stickers are from Ellie Studio. And so I'm making this big title to begin with. And so I love these puffy sticker alphas because they have that scripty Jen Scow font, and they're puffy stickers. Hello, is there anything better than puffy stickers? They are my favorite. But I also love that I have them in a variety of colors. So I can change things up by keeping the font the same, but adding in a new color. And it really makes parts of my title pop. And so I'm writing out a longer title this time. And I wanted to say behind the scenes at Balloon Fest. And so I've gone so far with yellow. And that's where I'm starting because there is some yellow in my photos. And so I wanted to bring in that little pop of a different color because it is evident in the photos. And then I'm going to go back to my puffy stickers from Freckled Fawn and find a different font for the rest of my title. And so I'm looking at the black ones that are the same font, and I decided to change up the font instead. So because they're both puffy stickers and they're very similar, it's going to allow me to change that font if I want to, but still create a seamless look. So for Balloon Fest, I'm going to use these red puffy sticker alphas, also from Freckled Fawn, but they're capital letter instead of having that variety and that scriptiness. These are going to be more of a different look. And so I really like the way that those two different fonts kind of play together on the page. And so I'm going to go ahead and finish those up. And I know, like I said, that I have a lot of journaling. I have a lot of things I want to say about being behind the scenes at the Balloon Fiesta and how much my kids really enjoyed that experience of not only seeing like hundreds of hot air balloons all at once, but also being able to, see how this whole process works. So it was really important for me to tell that story rather than just show you photos. So even when I'm working on a layout with multiple photos, it's really important to me that I tell that story. Otherwise, this is just a layout with some pretty balloon pictures. But in my journaling, I can express, how much of a thing this was to my kids and my family and being able to learn how all of this works while we were there. So I'm going to grab these puffy sticker phrases and I want to add just a couple in that open space up in the top left-hand corner of my photo. So I'm going to grab just a couple there. And then I also know that I'm going to want some of that detail carried over down to the bottom of that tag. So I kind of have that in the back of my mind that I'm going to need a little detail somewhere else. And so I'm carrying the star detail around with me, and those particular stars are from Bella Boulevard, so it's pulling in yet another collection, which if you know me, you know I love to mix collections. And then you can see I did add that same little detail down at the bottom of my journaling. Because I had a longer story to tell, I did type out my journaling and then add it to that tag. And so in the close-ups, you can see some of those little details as well as that extra texture and stitching that I added. Do make sure you stop by and check out what Heather has done this week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!